this is my third attempt at this. This is, as you can read, what if Deku had Doomsday's abilities? Just the abilities, not the looks, not nothing. And as you can tell from the way I do my what ifs, I tend to do it I tend to start off with the backstory, then go to the first day of school. First day of the anime, and then, do the sludge villain attack. Today I won't be doing the sludge villain attack, and you'll understand why. But without further ado, okay. So, Doomsday, the DC character, he has, the most OPest, I'm talking about the most OPest, abilities in all of, anywhere. Due to the fact of his signature ability of, if he die, I call it deathly adaptation. If he dies, he resurrects himself, and he can't be killed the same way twice. Basically, this would be implying that Deku's immortal, basically, and his immortality only grows every time he dies or comes near a near death experience. So his abilities would be invulnerability, super strength, super speed, bone formation. Bone formation. Let's see. Yeah. So like the stuff that's on Doomsday right now that you see, on the left is Doomsday. On the right is Deku. The stuff that's on Doomsday right now is technically kryptonite, but I'm going to make Deku's hair kryptonite-like, And I guess you could say Doomsday would also have shock absorption, but that'll come like after the first part. He has super speed, bone formation, super regeneration. I already told you what deathly adaptation is. Deadly evolution is an ability where, he evolves I'm just going to make it every 24 hour, Deku will evolve into another form. Say, not like, oh, look at this kid, and then the next day, what the hell, who is this? Not like major changes. I'm talking like inner changes, like, say, for instance, he won't need to breathe if, he's in contact with a certain type of smoke or something. But that's if his deathly adaptation doesn't get to it first. He'd have super senses. He'd also have another type of invulnerability. Like, say, for instance, any type of magical attacks, he won't, have, Then he'd have infinite resurrection, so he can resurrect himself in infinite amount of times. He has immortality, because his immortality only grows, and he also has power absorptions. So basically, he could, he absorbs other people's powers, like All For One. But the thing is, Deku's power absorption takes time. It'll take like 4 hours for him to absorb a normal person's, quirk. So I want you guys to give me 4 abilities that he'll absorb, and I'll add those. But as of right now, let's just get into it. So as a kid, Deku was always, he was always, by the other kids, he was always thought to be quirkless. By his parents, by his mom, she knew that he had that, he had that extra toe that, most people with quirks have. They just haven't figured out his quirk yet. At the age of 9, Deku's walking down the street, and he gets caught up in an explosion in a convenience store robbery. And in order to escape, the villain, his name is going to be Scorcher. In order to escape, he, scorches the entire store and walks out. Deku's face, half of his face gets incinerated. So he seemed to be dead, alright? A hero runs over to Deku asking, "Are you okay? Are you okay?" And Deku's heart stops completely. So, because, his brain also got incinerated, the flames were so hard that it turned it, like, literally almost into goo. So, Deku, he's announced dead, but when he gets to the hospital, they try to, resurrect him, and nothing happening. Inko's literally crying. She's bawling. She's saying, my baby, my baby. Oh, no, what have you done? Oh, my God. And then the doctors get a notification on their phone that patient 0.002 is up. He's alive. You know, so they run to Deku's. They run to Deku's room, and they get in to see that Deku is alive and kicking. He's sitting on the edge of the bed, kicking his feet. And the doctors wonder, well, wasn't he just dead? Deku's mom runs over and hugs him because, the doctors told her that her baby was dead. So she starts to snap on the doctor and says, what sort of sick prank was this? Why were you holding my baby from me? Then, the doctors come clean and say, miss, he was dead. His heart stopped, And then, as, one of the doctors go to touch Deku, they feel his skin is different. So, the doctors ask, what's his quirk, ma'am? Inko says, well, he hasn't developed one yet. And they start to do some tests, and they find out all these abilities that he has. And one of the doctors touch Deku as all of his abilities start to wake up, and his powers absorption comes off. And he starts to suck some of the life force from the doctor. And, the doctor instantly pulls his hand back and says, I think this kid has some sort of absorption quirk as well. So Deku is basically categorized as super class, someone with the most potential and someone who can literally determine the outcome of the world. Because Doomsday is 100 times stronger than Superman. And Superman is 100 times stronger than All Might. So that would mean that Deku's 200 to 300 times stronger than, All Might. And All Might's the number one hero, and All Might has trouble with All for One, so Deku's the strongest person there. So, word gets out about this kid who might be able to, take quirks. And All for One's intrigued about this, He is in his, retirement, but he's intrigued by this. So he absorbs a shape-shifting ability, and he goes to check out this kid, But he doesn't know that much information about it. So, he just lets it go. He says, I'll find him one day. And when I do, I'll try to recruit him. And if he doesn't comply, then I'll kill him. So Deku's, getting all these abilities. Oh yeah, and not one ability in. I did my research, and not one ability in My Hero Academia could affect Deku at this point. So, he doesn't really go to school because they're trying to find out everything that he can do. And we'll say he learns everything from a private school, and he's homeschooled and stuff like that. So hold on, let's see. Oh yeah, so Deku meets All Might early on. Like, I'm talking early. Deku meets All Might, and All Might says, well, what do you want to be when you grow up? Deku says, I don't know. I kind of want to be a hero. This makes All Might smile and say, well, with your abilities, you'll have the potential to become a great hero. But then he starts to get serious, and then he says, or a great villain. And, with the outcome of your abilities, no one will be able to stop you. So that's why you always need to use your abilities for good, because, you're one of the most powerful people, and people with power need to protect the weak. This makes Deku smile, and he says, I will, All Might, I promise. And, everything starts to progress as it would. Uh, uh, let's say there's a elementary version of UA. I mean, not elementary, like a middle school version of UA, and that's where Deku went. Yeah, because I don't really get that. Why people with that's like the son of heroes? Why don't they just go to sons and daughters of heroes? Why don't they just go to some sort of elementary and middle school UA? So I'll be just adding that, you know. Oh yeah, and I will be adding Coda and Eri in this early on because you know the two of them are so adorable, and I want them in the I want them in the story. But as of that, this is just the intro to it, and I'll just be leaving you guys on. So thanks, guys. Do 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 do.